अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय। Jai Baba, everybody. Let us commence with a prayer to Baba, a small prayer to Baba. Janice, could you do us the honors, please?
Yes, Uncle. अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय। प्रियतम परमात्मा, हमारी ऐसी सहायता कर कि हम तुझसे अधिक का अधिक प्रेम करें, और अधिक और अधिक, और फिर भी उससे भी अधिक प्रेम करें, जब तक कि हम तुझ में मिलकर एक हो जाने के पात्र बन जाएं। और तू हम सब की ऐसी सहायता कर कि हम अंत अंत तक प्रियतम बाबा का दामन दृढ़ता से पकड़े रहे। अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय। अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय। अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय।
Jai Baba, everybody. First and foremost, I'd like to invite our one and only Lord, Avatar Meher Baba, to come and join us for this evening's meet. Not only join us, but to take over from here on, so that all the proceedings of this meeting will happen as per your wish. Jai Meher Baba. Today we have Mr. Ram Nori, who is used to be with IBM earlier, and he is from a Baba Lover's family. He's taken trouble to make a presentation, so please watch it carefully. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. Just that have some discipline and raise your hands, and then we will ask you to come in. That's the way we will conduct this program. I'd also like to add that if anybody wants to share any incident or anything like that, you're more than welcome to do so. We shall also be screening a short video which was televised in the United States. It tells you about the Myrtle Beach Center. After that video, I'll try and narrate my personal experience when I had gone to the Myrtle Beach many moons ago. So, Mr. Ram Nori, could you please take over and take it from here on? Jai Baba. You're muted, sir. Okay.
Jai Meher Baba. First thing I would like to do is thank Sam and rest of
No, thanks. That thank business is not required, sir.
Yeah,
Thank only him.
For giving me an opportunity to talk about my beloved Meher Baba and our experiences. And second thing I would like to do is, here I have a friend I invited. He's from Israel. His name is Baral. So he's there, and I want to say, Jai Baba to him. And I also want to say, I tried my best, to collate all these things in a chronological order. If some of these events, as they happen and the times don't match, Baba, please forgive me. I'm just a human. I'm a limited one.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay. So can we go ahead and start the...
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's see. So I want to first share my slides. Share screen.
Yeah.
So this thing suddenly, 1 second. Okay. There is an icon that's presentation icon is being, there is a message that's actually covering it. I'm not able to see that.
No. Ram, you're clicking on the right icon. You just need to click on play from beginning. Even if you just click on the present button, that will be fine.
The present button is being, covered by this thing, a message talking Ram.
Just go a little higher up, no, and you're right there. In fact, you clicked on it right now, 2 seconds back.
Yeah, but what happened? Am I there?
Yes.
Yes.
But it's not gone to a full screen yet.
Doesn't matter, Dada. We can see the whole thing, so it's all right. It's only a
So
picture.
just one suggestion, Ram uncle, you can the square that you see, you can click and drop it down, or you can move it anywhere and you can see the present button. You can just try once, else we can go on this way.
I'm not even seeing my presentation all of a sudden. Just give me, 1 second. What happened to suddenly my screen disappeared.
Can you use Alt and Tab key to shift the tabs, and you will see your tab where your presentation is on. So you can release the tab button there and your screen will come up. So just the tab is changed, I guess.
No, tab
Try Alt and Tab key.
I don't have, in the new ones, you don't have Alt. I think it's a Microsoft icon.
Okay. Or you can stop share and share again. You can do that.
Oh God. Let me actually log out and log back in again.
Why don't you just stop sharing and reshare? That should also solve your problem.
All of a sudden, sharing is, I don't know how it is paused. I don't know who.
Just a second.
Stop share.
There, you stop sharing.
I'm going to share it again. Okay. Present. Okay. All right. I think we are all good to go. So, sorry for the little.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Okay. So this is the. No, where the suddenly, okay. Okay. Jai Baba. This all started in probably late 40s and early 50s. So my parents used to live in Madras, now Chennai. So in 1950, my mother had a second son. So his name is Balakrishna, but she had a first son who was 3 years old at that point. And after the birth of the second child, my mother had lost her, she lost my brother, oldest brother. His name was Puri Jagannath. So he died all of a sudden in the afternoon when he was asleep. So my mother was kind of, depressed, and this kid was a very precocious kid. So he could talk and everything. And they say he had, at the age of 3, he had the skills of a first grader. So, and my mother was very, sad about it. Then few months passed by. In 1951, my mother got an invitation to attend her maternal uncle. His name is Joshila Venkateshwar Rao, who was a criminal lawyer, his daughter's wedding. So this happened in a place called Tadepalli Gudem in Andhra. So when my mother went, she met a person by name Dhanpat Rao Naidu. So he was one of the four pillars of Andhra. Baba termed these four people as the four pillars. One is Kutumba Shastri, Dhanpat Rao, Dr. Dhanpat Rao Naidu, Ranga Rao, and Mallikarjun Rao. So these were known as the four pillars. So he told my mother in 1951, around February time, he just let her know about Meher Baba. So he gave her a picture of Meher Baba. He said, you pray to him every day. And in the evening, you perform some, aarti and offer some, milk, as a prasad. So my mother, strictly followed, the instructions. And she had not met. But during that time, my maternal uncle, that's my mother's brother, he was also there. Somehow he got friendly with Dr. Dhanpat Rao Naidu. So the following year, which was 1952, so they all went to visit Baba to take his darshan in Mehrazad. So this is the picture you see. So this gang of few people from Andhra that went and took darshan of Baba in Mehrazad. So you guys see that picture?
Yes, we can, sir.
So this was in the year 1952. Then things went fine, and the following year, Meher Baba, came to Andhra for the first time in 1953, again to Tadepalli Gudem. So when he came to Tadepalli Gudem, at that point, my mother and father, and by then this was in 1953, so my mother had another baby, so there were two boys. And my father, they went from Madras to take darshan of Baba. And my maternal uncle went from Machilipatnam to see Baba. So they all met there. So that was the first time in 1953 when my mother met, Meher Baba. So in between, what happened was, after she met Dhanpat Rao Naidu in 51, after he gave this picture, before she met Baba, one fine day in Madras, she got this parcel. She was wondering, I didn't get anything. Where did this parcel come from? She looked at the parcel, and the parcel was from Adike Irani, from Pune. So obviously, Dhanpat Rao Naidu and my uncle, when they met Baba, they must have told Meher Baba, about my mother. So she got a gift of, 5 badges, 5 lockets, and 5 pictures of, Baba, and with a message saying that follow me. So that's what, she got in between 51 and 53. And obviously in 53, she and my father and, my 2 older siblings, so who were little babies at that point, so they went and took darshan of Baba. Then in 1954, Baba had, in 1953, when my uncle met Baba in Tadepalli Gudem, he invited him to come to Machilipatnam. So Baba said, I'm not going to come in this trip, but in the next trip, I will definitely, I'll come to Machilipatnam, which happened in 1954, and around February time. So this was the picture, what you are seeing. My uncle's, back is, you see my uncle's back, and he's talking to Baba. So this was in his house, when Baba made a visit, to his house. So we all went. So, I wasn't born, and neither was my brother Meher. So, and I think my mother was, really pregnant at that point when she met. It was 2 weeks later, Meher was born. So this is the picture. And what Baba did in the trip was, he gave this picture, he prayed to this picture, Baba himself, and they performed Aarati. And then he gave it to my uncle, said, you need to have this picture in your Machilipatnam center. So this is the picture you see in the Machilipatnam Baba center. So this was in year 1954. So, and in 1955, so there's a group from Machilipatnam. So they went and took darshan of Baba. So this is the picture you see in 1955. You know, so all their names are there. So Baba is, you know, is there, and onto Baba's right is my maternal uncle. His name is MSRK Sastri. And after that, you know, I think the God Speaks was, they published God Speaks, and my uncle got a copy of God Speaks with a serial number and Baba's signature on it. So he was one of those, you know, lucky ones. And in 9 years have passed, and then they had this Savas in 1958. So in 1958, a lot of, you know, the women from Andhra also went, and my mother also went as a volunteer. Initially, she was not planning to go. So, but in the last minute, you know, she decided to go, because by then she already had, you know, 5 kids now. So from 2, you know, they went to 5. So she had to leave everybody, you know, we didn't go, the kids didn't go. So, I mean, I had, my older brother was probably 8, 6, and then myself, and I also have a younger sister. So there's an aunt who came from, you know, from our village, Machilipatnam, and then she took care of us, I think. So my mother went, you know, to this Sava. There she is, you know, in front of, you know, with Baba here in front of him. This is the group of Andhra women, you know, with Baba. So I don't know. Can you guys see the cursor?
Right.
Yeah, and where I put my cursor, that is my mother's older sister. She was a lawyer. So and right onto her right hand side is my first cousin, and she's about 81 years old now. So they all went as volunteers, you know, and they all had good time. And what my cousin tells me is that, you know, during this Sahavas, Baba gave up. All these people were there. Baba was walking by, and he turned around and said, you know, I want you guys to pick 5 people to come and wash my legs, my feet. So guess what? So these 5 people were, you know, fighting amongst themselves as to which 5. By then, Baba washed his, you know, feet and went inside. So how unlucky these people are. They had an opportunity and they couldn't decide. So none of them got a chance, you know, to wash his feet. So this is the same group. My mother, the one in the dark sari is my mother. So right next to her is, you know, her sister, and the last one is my niece. So this is all in Mehrabad. And this is in 1959. This is during Baba's birthday. So, and the Baba's birthday celebration, you know, my uncle used to do it on a grand scale. So, and he was very into it, and we all enjoyed, you know, him celebrating Baba's birthday. So, I mean, I don't recognize, you see this guy, you know, way back, little guy.
Yeah.
So my brother tells me that's me, but I'm not so sure though. So standing on the window and trying to look at things, you know. And after that, in 1959, so Baba, actually, my uncle, you know, was a very well-known income tax tribunal lawyer. So the trust, at that point, Baba decided to have a, you know, trust, and they needed to do the trust deed. So he actually summoned my uncle saying that, hey, you got to do this. So, please come and, visit and take a look at this. So at that point, Baba, my uncle went to, Mehrabad or Mehrazad. So he and my brother Meher and my grandmother, so they all went to, see Baba. So my uncle said, hey, Baba, I'm a lawyer, but, from a small town. And I'm not so sure, how I can go to Mumbai, talk in front of all these big wigs. So Baba assured him, don't worry about it. I'm going to tell you what to say. Just do that. So he went and whatever, the points Baba gave, he just, argued. And then eventually, everything went perfectly fine, I thought. So that's how he helped, or Baba gave him an opportunity to help and create the trust deed. And then we again in 1960, we went to visit Baba. So this was, I remember I was very little, and we went to Pune, and we had those days you could get the entire bogie for yourself, a train compartment. So, and that's what we did. I remember staying in the Pune station. So because there's a large group, the whole train came, and then we would go, visit, took Baba's darshan. And we did this again in 1961. We went and visited and took darshan of Baba. And of course, in 1962, we all know that, it was the East-West gathering. That's another opportunity, we got, to see Baba very closely. And this is the time I think we really took darshan. And, I remember distinctly just taking his darshan and laying my head at his feet. And another thing definitely I do remember is there was a heavy rain during one of those days. I think there was very heavy rain, in during darshan days. So it was a wonderful time, and the trust made all the arrangements, including food. So we were put in a chowdhury someplace, close to station. I can't place where it is. So we all lived there, and we used to go to Guru Prasad, to take Baba's darshan. And this is in my house. And in 1963, I think they opened the Kovuru Center. So they had this Baba's, Murti, the statues Pratistapana. So they placed that. So on their way back, the Baba, Adi K. Irani and the company, they were invited by my parents. So they graced our house with their presence. So we had a gathering. I think there were about 50, 60 people who came for the function. So these are the pictures during that function. And Adi K. Irani speaking. And right next to Adi is one of the ministers at that point in Andhra government, Mr. M.R. Apparao. And along with Adi K. Irani, this is Maharani Shantabai of Baroda. So the Maharani of Baroda also came. Sorry, this picture is not cleaned up. So the Maharani of Baroda also paid a visit. So I mean, it was like my impression was I'm looking at a queen, and she just looks like me. I mean, I probably had in my little mind, I had a different picture of what a queen would look like. But to my surprise, she just looked normal. And it's from the same here. You guys recognize who they are? Sam?
Oh, yes. Madhusudan, Pratap.
Yes. So they were singing the
bhajan. Kishore also there.
Yeah, Kishore Mr. also there. Yeah.
Kishore, and who's on the tabla? Even that guy, We seem to,
I don't know who. is
okay,
that.
doesn't matter.
Yeah. And you know this person?
Not really, Ram.
I think this is Rustam Kaka, who's from the Ahmednagar Center.
Ah, okay.
And beg your pardon?
Rustam Hathidaru.
Yeah. So he was a very good singer.
Hmm.
Even at that age, I enjoyed Madhusudan's, singing and lyrics. But in my opinion, I thought Rustam Kaka sang much better.
Hmm.
But what do I know about music? I don't. And the one in the background, the guy, who is my brother, Anil, who is in Seattle now. And this is my mom, and it's from the same function. And this is my mother and my father and my oldest brother. And you see that little urchin, who was looking at the camera?
Hmm.
That is me.
Ah, okay.
And I was actually paying attention, but I think the photographer distracted me. See, that's
I
what.
see. That's an excuse now, is it?
See, I have an alibi. The guy behind me, his name is Sadashiv Sharma. See, he was so distracted.
Okay, yeah.
So, and this is we had this is in 1965. So when Baba gave his darshan just to the Easterners. So we had good time again in Guru Prasad.
Hmm.
So we went, and guess what? When I went and suddenly my little two eyes, they spotted these two big stalwarts of Indian cricket. So there is Polly Umrigar and Nari Contractor, Polly uncle and Nari uncle. They were present at the gathering.
Wow. Hmm.
So my focus was on them, it's more on them than on Baba. So I thought Baba is God, he's not going to go anywhere. So my idea was, just to run up to them, catch hold of them and get their autograph.
Hmm.
And which eventually I did, and they obliged, I wrote on a piece of paper. So without any hang-ups, so I went with my father, and so he introduced, and I said, I would like to have your autographs, and they just signed. That's how simple and humble they were.
Hmm.
And this is on the last day of the darshan program. Baba gave us an opportunity, to take a photograph with him. So as you see, in the olden days, so when you have got all the children were pushed down to the bottom of the staircase. You see that?
Yeah.
All the grown-ups, the one right behind Baba's right shoulder is my dad.
Ah, okay.
So the next one is Amara Para, was the minister. And at the very bottom of the stair, the little munchkin, you see, and that's me.
Okay.
So we're all sitting all by myself.
Hmm.
So these guys, and right behind, onto my left shoulder is my brother Anil.
Okay.
And where the cursor is, that's my oldest brother. And where the cursor is, that is Maharchan.
Oh, I see.
And the one which next to where these other two little kids,
Hmm.
they are my Masi's kids. Yeah, it was such a good time, so no tension at all. Life was so simple.
Hmm.
So, and all this time, all this while, my mother used to communicate with Baba. I don't know, she would frequently, communicate. So Baba assured her, nothing to, she was probably concerned about, the whole thing, whole life and children and all that. So Baba said, don't worry about it. They are my children. I'll take care of them. So you don't think to worry about it. Just keep remembering me, and I'll take care of them. And meanwhile, in between, I jumped ahead a little bit, but between 59 and before this, somewhere my mother always used to observe silence very religiously. She would fast and she would also observe silence, complete silence. But one of those silence days, I think she was really tested by Baba. So my father, he started his career with a person who was a senior lawyer by name B. Jagannath Das. So when my father, then the state formed in 56, my father moved to Hyderabad. But my father senior went on to become a Supreme Court judge. So Jagannath Das became, a judge of Supreme Court of India.
Wow.
So he was in town. So my father contacted him, and my father invited him for dinner on what day? On July 10th. So here is my mother observing silence and what to do. And my father, without asking, he had invited. My mother had no choice. Even if she had told her, she would probably have no choice. So she broke the silence. She broke the silence, and she had to entertain the guests. And she did, and she fed us. Guess what? All the children, after they were fed, we all had dysentery. All of us were sick. All 4 brothers. After the guests left, we all became sick. So then they panicked, they called the doctor, and they also were worried, or maybe, something must have happened in the food. So my father was worried. I invited the Supreme Court judge, I thought he might be sick. What's he going to think of me? So he was worried about all those things. So meanwhile, the doctor came and said, ma'am, maybe this is case of, food poisoning. Maybe I'll give medication. So they said, okay. Then what my mother did was, we used to get these ashes, from the dhuni. So my mother took that and then she just put it on her forehead and a teeny weeny bit on our tongue. And in no time we were fine.
Wow.
Before even they can give any medication, all the kids were fine. So my mother thinks it was just testing me. So that's her way of putting it. Yeah, that's a little test. After that, she never ever broke her silence again. So, and the next picture is this is for the women. Oops, sorry. So this one is for the women, man. They had a separate picture for men and a separate picture for women. This is during that 1965 version. And I can definitely tell you, we never asked Baba for anything. Life was simple. We just prayed, and every Sunday we used to have bhajans at home. But nothing fancy. And we never asked for, oh, I want this, I want that, Baba give me this, Baba give me that. None of those things. The only thing my mother would do is, whenever we went, she would take a bunch of pencils and these Baba, lockets, and she would give it to, Jalbai, Baba's brother Jal. And she would say, just have them blessed by Baba. And Jalbai would go and get it, touched by Baba. And then, so these are the pencils, which we would use to write our exams.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, if it wasn't for that, I don't think I would have gotten out of 3rd grade. So it's his mercy. Yeah. Then obviously, after 65, I saw Baba only in 1969 when Baba dropped his body. So my mother and my oldest brother So they went first as soon as they heard. So they went to Mehrabad in a car. And once they went, Adi K. Irani or Arush, one of them told, it's going to be, there for one more week. They said, you have seen, so why don't you just go home and send your kids? So my mother and brother, they just came back after, saying, and then they sent us, the rest of the, siblings, and with a chaperone, who's never heard of Baba. But my mother needed to send somebody who was a little bit older. So instead of just sending us kids with the driver, so she sent a chaperone. So they brought us to Mehrabad. So we saw, Baba in his physical form at that point. And I do remember actually going down the crypt, to pay my last respects, So what myself and my brothers, we disagree is my one brother thinks it's Adi K. Irani and I think it's Aruch. So whoever it was, eventually we did go down the crypt and paid our last respects, and saw for the last time Baba in his physical form. So after that, we used to go to every Amar Tithi. So whenever possible, most of the time, we would go, and my mother used to make sure that I went there. So I used to be in a boarding school. So I remember in 70 and 71. So my mother sent a telegram to it was a Catholic boarding school. They won't let us go. So my mother used to send a telegram saying that mom is sick, come home. So same, both the times it was the same. So the father would call me and say, oh, I got this telegram, everything will be fine. So you just go home and come back home, come back to school after your mother is fine. Then I would come to Hyderabad, and from there we would go to, Mehrabad, for Amar Tithi, and then go back to school again. Then we all, from being innocent kids, so we just go to be, obnoxious young kids. Then my experience is, people ask, what were your experiences? You say, what do you think of Baba? What is he? I don't know the definition of God, but I can definitely tell you, Baba, when he said that your children are my children, when he assured my mother that, and he did take care of her, all of us. He made sure that, we didn't get into, any of this hierarchy things, it's very, very easy to get into bad habits. So he protected me, and it's like anytime I went off the track, he just nudged me back on the track. So this is when I was in boarding school. I don't know what gotten into, myself and, my friends. So we decided to play Teen Patti card, remember the 3 cards game? I don't even know how to play. So we decided to gamble. So, and we said, okay, we will do that with 1 paisa. किसी को आता ही नहीं था, लेकिन फिर भी चलो कोशिश करेंगे. And then there was a bloody informant in that dormitory, in that hostel. So while we were doing it, somebody informed the father, the warden of the hostel dormitory, the hostel. So then we were just doing it before the dinner time. So we had our dinner, and then as soon as we came out of the dinner, there was a summon, from the attendant came, says, the warden, is calling you, please, go to the office. So he called, and I go to the office, and then who do I see? I see my other friends with whom, we decided to gamble. So the father, do you guys know the reason why I called you guys? He said, no. He said, you guys were gambling. I said, no, father, we were not gambling. So he said, don't lie, tell us the truth. So no, he said, I know everything. I know you guys were gambling before dinner. I waited till dinner because I didn't want to ruin your dinner. So finally we had to admit, no, this is the first time we were trying. So then obviously, he gave us a lecture how terrible, gambling is. He said, I have to punish. I said, oh, God, what's he going to do? So I said, okay. He said, are you guys ready for the punishment? So he said, yes, Father, we committed a blunder, so we have to pay for it. So I asked, what's the punishment? The punishment is, this is such a heinous thing, this gambling, so I have to inform your parents. All of us started crying. So all of us suddenly, so I said, no, Father, please don't tell my dad, if he comes to know, he will slaughter me. So I would rather die, so please don't tell him. So this was in a town called Vijayawada. So he said, okay, I'm not going to tell him right now, but I'm going to give you one day as to see what your punishment can be. You sleep over this and let me know. So the town, where I was going to school, there's a river Krishna, river Krishna flows through, and it was not very far from college or the school, So next day comes and all three of us went again, and then, so he asked me, so do you know what you're going to do? What kind of punishment, you're looking for? So I said, Father, if you're going to inform my parents, I'm going to jump into river Krishna and commit suicide. And the other two guys got the clue. And they also said, we are also going to jump if you let from our parents, we are going to commit suicide. And the father panicked. So finally he said, okay, I'm not, you still have to be punished. So he gave us a punishment, to work in the, dormitory, do something, for some certain number of days. But the experience was so traumatic, and and after that, I never ventured to gamble ever again. I went to, on these visits, I toured in, many places. They take you to these gambling dens, I went to Las Vegas, I went to Atlantic City, New Jersey, and all these places. I did not bet even a single dime. That's what the experience was. That's what Baba, made my experience. He made it so traumatic, I didn't venture to gamble ever again. So that was protecting me. And the other thing I can think of is, when I grew up, I was in the 4th year of engineering. It's the same 3 guys who were with me in school. Again, it's the same gang, So all of us were, very nice guys. But some of them, a couple of them, they were doing this ganja, the weed. I used to be with them, but I never did the weed. And they were, smoking the pot. But I don't know what happened one day. I said, this was in 4th year of my engineering, and it was a hot summer day. After lunch, I decided I'm going to also try it. And I smoked the pot, and in no time I got stoned. I didn't know what was happening. I was hallucinating. Then I went to classroom. And at the time, my eyes were popping out, bulging out. So the professor came and looked into my eyes. So the guy who was next to me, he knew what was happening. So he told the professor, I told this guy has got sunstroke, not to come to the class, to go back to his room. He didn't listen to me. So when the professor said, okay, take him back to his room. So this is what happened while we were walking back. While we were walking back, I was really hallucinating, So I told my friend, boss, I think I'm short on breath. I think I'm going to die. So what do I do? He said, I can take you to the hospital. Then, we walked for some more time. The thought occurred to me, if you take me to the hospital, are they going to find out that, I smoked pot and that's the reason why I'm, short on breath? He told me, obviously they will find out. Then I was like thinking what to do. So we took, a few more steps. Then I turned to him, are they going to inform my father? So my father, by then, he was a state prosecutor, So he said, obviously they have to tell family, what was that if you're in the hospital? If something happens, what? No, they don't want to be responsible, so they have to tell your parents. Then I told my friend, let me die in the room. Then let them know after I die. So this guy must have seen a lot of friends, go through this stage, So he took me back to the room, and then I slept for a little bit. After that, I was fine. So he narrated. I mean, I don't even remember. He narrated what happened, what did I do, what I spoke, and that was the first time and last time I ever ventured to smoke a joint.
Mm.
So that these are the lessons Baba, gave good lessons for me, what not to do.
Mm.
So that's how we, protected. So when people ask me what does Baba mean to you, I tell them he is my friend. He's my security blanket. He always looks over my shoulder. So he's protecting me and he's guiding me.
Mm.
Yeah. And here's a picture of me with, of course, and everybody knows Money Auntie. And every child, whoever came in contact with Money Auntie, even after they grew up, they loved Money Auntie. She was the best. So I was so happy to see her. So this is us. This was back.
Mm.
Yeah, it was back then when I had a little bit of hair. So right behind me is Ken Coleman.
Who? Sorry?
His name is Ken Coleman. Hero, there's a girl by name Hero.
Okay.
Hero's husband. So whenever I used to go to Mehrabad, I mean, I used to sleep very well. I used to eat well. I was completely stress-free.
Mm.
So, and in those days, in 90s, my mother, I would land up. I would land in Bombay, and then I would go directly to, Mehrabad, and my mother would come, from Hyderabad, and then from there, I used to go to Hyderabad. And whenever my mother used to be with me, and she always insisted that I go and clean the tomb. And for that, you have to get up at 5:30. And so what my mother used to do was, no, you have to get up by 5. You have to clean yourself and all that, and then only you can go and clean.
Mm.
And every day, I would set an alarm between 5:15 and 5:30. I mean, how MPs, those days was MPC, how MPC, they didn't have single rooms. It was dormitory type, you had 4 or 5 people sleep, sharing the room. So I would go there and I would set an alarm and put that alarm right underneath the pillow, so that as soon as I heard it, I could get up and then turn the alarm off, so that I won't disturb the rest of the patients in the room. But every single day, the alarm would go off. I won't wake up, and all these guys are howling. And so, the alarm's gone off. Wake up! And it was nightmare for those guys. I would wake up, and then I would go. Then my mother would come and say, "Ram, are you awake?" And they would be disturbed again.
Mm.
So it was a fun time. So I don't know what I would do, how my life would be, without Baba. So every time I go into the tomb, or every time I pray, I ask Baba, make sure I'm with you every lifetime until I become one with you. That's only prayer I have for him. All right, the end.
No, sir, we are not going to. Yeah, you said any questions. Ram?
Yes. Yeah.
I also know that you accompanied Sridharji
Yes.
So can you tell us something about that visit? That is number one. And number two, and a very important thing is how Baba keeps his nazar on you, in the sense when you were unwell in Pune not long ago,
Yeah.
and Sridhar walks in the right time. So
Yeah.
can you please tell us about that.
Yeah, I will do that. And of course, Sridhar uncle, Jal uncle, they're, they're very dear to my heart. So we're always there, and they always used to, make sure that, we were on right track. So in 2019, I accompanied Sridhar uncle, we went on a tour and we went all over, we crisscrossed, across US, and then we went to, Canada for a short bit. So mostly, Sridhar uncle was doing all the talking and sharing the stories and indirectly hinting, hey, you know what, you guys need to, donate. So, and that was the whole idea of going, so we went to different centers. So we landed up in Boston. We met, Michael, do you know Michael Siegel, the sitar player?
Michael who?
Siegel, Michael Siegel.
No. Yeah, the singer, the one who sings.
No, he's a guitar.
And all.
Sitar player.
Yeah.
So Michael spent quite a bit of time in Pune learning, guitar. From one Mr. His guru is Mr. Chandavarkar, I think. So, and his wife is, from our area, Lakshmi. She's a doctor. And so we landed up at their place. They hosted us. So we stayed in Boston, met the Boston group. I don't know how many of you know Steve Klein, Steve and Daphne?
No.
Okay. Steve was very close to the Kerawala family. So he is the one actually who penned all the stories of the Kerawalas. So we had get-togethers, Baba's meetings, and Sridhar uncle would talk about the Talati family. So, and then he also would talk about the plan, the master plan, for the what they're thinking, what they want to do. And then we also we spent time in Myrtle Beach. We were there in Myrtle Beach for 10 days, so we met, Buzz and Wendy Corners. Wendy is Jane Haynes' daughter.
Yeah.
And Buzz is the director. He's local. He's in charge of the Myrtle Beach Center. So Myrtle Beach, he takes care of it. And I don't know if you know, at the reception in MPR, there used to be a guy named Scott Hammelbeck. He used to work at the reception. You guys, you probably don't remember. And Scott now does the same, a little bit more than just being at the receptionist. So he does more he also is at Myrtle Beach Center. His name is Scott Hammelbeck. Scott, along with Susie, used to take care of MPR reception and reservations. Then we went to, the Northeastern gathering in Worcester, in upstate New York. So we met a few people, few Baba people, old friends. We also went to Seattle, obviously, to visit my brother. And from Seattle, we went to Vancouver, Canada. So again, most of it is for fundraising. So we, I was just, it's like I used to be with Sridhar uncle, but Sridhar uncle did all the talking, and all the questions were answered by him, and I used to be just with him. From there, we went went back to California. We were at Talbot's, Alan and Karen Talbot. So they hosted us. So we were there for 3-4 days. we also went to Mariposa, Marana,
Mm.
for more talks and, to let know the state of affairs of the trust, what's happening. And we also came back again, back to Bay Area, California, San Francisco Bay Area. And this time we made a visit, to the Sufism reoriented the Sufi Center.
Mm.
And this is, when I went there, when I saw it, it was mind-boggling. I've never seen any spiritual center of the grandeur of Sufi Center in Walnut Creek.
Mm.
It's they are so focused, they were so focused, and the way they maintain it and the way they speak, to their guests, it's just I mean, they are very, very well trained.
Mm.
So the Murshida, Carol O'Connor, trained them pretty well. All of them are, very knowledgeable, and all of them have, majority of them have read God Speaks. They are very well versed with Baba literature.
Mm.
So I forgot to mention when we were in Myrtle Beach, so we had a dinner, with the Murshida, the head of the Sufi reoriented center. So she's based out of, though they have their center, the big one is in Walnut Creek, California. I think Murshida, lives in Washington, D.C. So she specifically, came down to meet, Sridhar uncle.
Oh. Mm.
So she hosted us. She held a, dinner. So again, they were so disciplined. And no one would speak until and unless, the Murshida said, yeah, you talk. Then only they would open their mouth.
Mm.
So they were, very well disciplined, good listeners. So I was impressed. So we were actually, and they actually, after, the accident in Prague, in Oklahoma,
Mm.
actually was in a house owned by the Elizabeth Patterson family. So
Oh.
it's a place called Yukon Dunes.
Mm.
So we went and had dinner at Yukon Dunes, and the place was bought out by the Sufis. So this is a major bone of contention. This is what I figured. This is a bone of contention between the Sufis and non-Sufis, non-Sufi Baba followers. So the non-Sufi followers of Northern California, which is the San Francisco Bay Area, they're not very happy, and a lot of Baba followers in Myrtle Beach also are very unhappy that the Yukon Dunes was bought out by the Sufis. This is in spite of Baba telling them to keep out of Myrtle Beach. Apparently Baba, I'm not aware of the past history.
Mm.
I believe Baba told them, don't come into Myrtle Beach. I don't know how true it is. This is all hearsay. I don't know the history. So some of these people are very, very upset that it went and bought. They were so upset after we left, Daniel Stone and, Marwan Dubash.
Mm.
So they were actually making a trip across US to different centers to give the master plan, to give the details of the master plan.
Mm.
So came to Northern California. So they asked for a place, and the Sufis offered their place. They said, hey, we have a place that can hold 300 people. We will provide all the refreshments and everything else. And there was a stiff resistance from the non-Sufis. They said, no, we don't want to do it.
Mm.
So, and because of that, they had to, Daniel and Marwan, they had to make two presentations, one for Sufis and one for non-Sufi Baba followers. So it is, But I do remember, the Sufis also wanted to come to India, and they were a little bit demanding, So they said, "Oh, we want the entire MPR for ourselves." So at that point, I think Sridhar uncle probably must have told them, "No, no, you cannot have the entire. What do we do with the other pilgrims?"
Mm.
And people are also not very happy that they ventured into Biomalam in Bangalore. So they are funding it. So people have this feeling that they will slowly take over the.
Mm.
We'll see what happens. Well,
Mm.
you know, something I was thinking to myself, I don't have to deal with it. It is Sridhar uncle's problem, not mine.
Tell us about your
Yeah,
timely help that you received.
yeah. Baba is so compassionate. I mean, when he said he'll take care of us, and he really takes care of you. You just have to have faith in him. Just have faith. I can definitely tell you, he will drag you to the last moment when you give all your hopes up. Suddenly, it turns around. He's testing you. He's testing you. So, what happened was this is beginning of 2021, right? So in end of 2020, suddenly I stopped. I was not able to eat properly. I was working out. I was not eating well. My stomach always used to be bloated. So eventually, some senses got into me. And meanwhile, I used to talk to Sridhar uncle and Jal uncle. And Sridhar uncle always used to tell them, "Boss, you're not sounding well. There is something wrong. So go see a doctor." So finally, I went and saw a doctor, and they did all the scans, all the tests, and they determined there are a few nodes. So they did more testing, and they did biopsy in my kidney. There was a lump near my throat, one underneath my left lung. So they did biopsy whatever they could, and thank God Raymond was there. Raymond, Dada Chenji.
Mm.
So he was with me when I underwent the test and when I got the test results. So they said, this is a variant of tuberculosis. So it is treatable by just medication. So you'll wait. So meanwhile, I was not eating. My weight has dropped from 76 kg to 56 kg.
Oh.
Yeah.
Kilos.
Yeah. I lost 20 kgs, So on January 16th, or 17th, one of those days, 17th, a Sunday. So Sridhar uncle said, "You're not sounding well. No matter what you're going to do, I'm going to come and see you." So I said, "Okay." So then Sridhar uncle came by, and then obviously all these housing societies have heavy duty security, right?
Mm.
So he called from the security, and then I said, "Come on up." And I told the security guys to let them in. And I opened the door, and I was waiting I live on the 12th floor. I was waiting for them to come. And my neighbors, Godwanis, so they know for some reason I was not able to eat. So my neighbor Mona, she made some nice food for me to eat. So he and her, his wife, they were bringing in the food, and I opened the door. I was waiting. What Mr. Godwani, Kamal Godwani, tells me is, while I was waiting, I just collapsed down like a sack of potatoes.
Mm.
So then they immediately came running, and they lifted me up and put me in the sofa. Then walks in Sridhar uncle.
Ah.
Then they tell, "Hey, this is what happened. This is what they have seen. We just put in here." Sridhar uncle came with Vithal. So Sridhar uncle said, "Nothing doing. I'm taking you to the hospital." So he told Vithal, "Go, cheese and pack his stuff." So he took me, and then he took me to the hospital right away. And then he admitted me into the hospital, and before that he called. There is a lady by Nawaz Kumar. Nawaz used to be executive admin for the CEO of this Ruby Hall clinic.
Oh.
He called her, so she came down to the hospital. It's not far from where I live.
Mhm.
So she came, and then they admitted me to the hospital. So then he told Nawaz, since Nawaz was there, so the doctor immediately recognized Nawaz, saying that, oh, you are so and so. So then Nawaz said, just take care of him. And I was in hospital for 3 weeks.
Mm.
So, I mean, nothing major. So they did all the tests and everything else. So I was so dehydrated. So they had to pump in that saline water into my body for 3 weeks. And the uncle gave instructions, to Nawaz, saying that until this guy walks by himself without any hitch, until that point he had no choice but to stay in the hospital.
Mm.
So I was in the hospital by myself, and I used to have visitors. My neighbors would come visit me, and Sora Bhai would come and visit me, and Rayaman would come, if not every day, at least every other day would come and sit, and we would chat and talk. Yeah. And if it wasn't for, I don't know what would have happened if Sri, your uncle, had not come. So,
Right.
this is how Baba, takes care of you, protects you.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mayor Daruwala has a question.
Yeah. Jai Baba Meher.
Yeah,
Don't.
Jai Baba Ram. Ram, did you meet in Myrtle Beach? Did you meet this one, Jeff, who sings
Jeff?
and everything?
Of course, Jeff is.
Yeah, because he has every our Monday morning. He talks from there. He has some like questions and answers and everything. So there are very like few people, I'll tell you, from America who are very like they want to say bring it out what's happened in this thing about Mayor Baba. They tell us and everything. And few people have even he's got many to tell about Mayor Baba. This thing, the life with Mayor Baba. I think Merchant must be knowing. Many people have been coming on the group and telling about this thing. I don't know if you have seen about them.
No, I went to a few meetings. I mean, I didn't get your last point.
The people who come, like many who have been with Mayor Baba in their life, this thing, and they come and they even tell stories about this thing. So he has them every Monday. I don't know if you have seen it.
No, I would love to. I know it's around 7 o'clock or 8 to 7:30 our time.
Yeah, in the morning.
In the morning, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So I don't have the link. If you can send me that Zoom link, that would be great.
Sure.
Yeah. So a lot of them also, you have to remember one thing. Very few of them actually they have been old-time Baba followers.
Yeah, and very senior people.
Yeah, very. And I'm not too sure if any of them had really met Baba.
I don't think so, but because Rosalia talks a lot about Baba, Rosalia.
Yeah, a lot of them are very highly Baba literate. See, I mean, if you ask me, I've read God Speaks. I've read it. I've attended Jimmy Modi's.
I'll send you the link. You the link. Sure.
Jimmy Modi's classes.
Yeah.
I also attended Ward Park's lectures on God Speaks.
Sure, I'll send it.
Yeah.
Okay, Yasmin Haradwala, you have a question?
So Jai Baba.
Jai Baba, I'm sorry, I did not understand what the difference of opinion is between the Sufi group and the Myrtle Beach group. I mean, I couldn't really understand what you said.
Yasmin, we can discuss this personally between you and him, Ram and you. This is not the platform for it, okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else has any questions? Okay. Since nobody else wants to ask any more things, I'd just like to make one point clear. Okay, this platform is to promote love for Baba
Yeah.
and not get into any controversial. Yeah, of course, controversies do occur and happen because we are all human beings. But we try and steer clear from all this.
Yeah.
So, if time permits, Ram, could you please now screen the video which was televised in America about the Myrtle Beach,
Yeah.
since the topic has come up freshly?
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I'm sorry. I don't know what got into me. I mean, what Sri Uncle, he had to face.
Yeah, that's perfectly all right, Ram. That's perfectly all right. I mean, it's just that we didn't want any elaboration on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Now I will stop. If no one has any questions, I will stop sharing this and I'll open the other one.
Yeah, thanks.
So, yeah, thanks again, everybody, listening to my ramblings. And again, I thank Baba, the Bombay Center, for
Right.
giving an opportunity, to talk about, I'm not so sure I would call it experiences, but that's why I said.
It was very nice, Ram. We really appreciate your sharing because we got to learn a lot of things, And you have been a regular on our visits. Your friend from Israel says, wonderful stories, Ram.
Thank you, Guy.
Okay.
And thank you to Shira also. A Guy's wife's name is Shira. And is much sweeter than the Shira we eat. She is so sweet. And both the couple, they're extremely, nice, very, very loving people. Hope to see them soon in Mehrabad. Yeah. So can I stop sharing now? And
Yes, please. Folks, what we are going to see was televised on the American television. And this is about the Myrtle Beach and its establishment and all that. And after that, if there is any more time left, I would like to share something of my own experience when I had visited Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We'd love to hear that.
Yeah.
And, Sam, you remember, I told you that I don't know if I have enough material to talk more than 15 minutes. I mean, I'm seeing the time here. It's about 10, 15 minutes.
This is what happens when he takes over, Ram.
I know.
Yes. Go ahead now. Screen the thing, please.
Yeah. Share screen. I think this is it. Which one? This one? Okay, can you all see it?
Yes, we can. It's on your.
New at 6, rest, meditation, and the renewal of spiritual life. Did you know Myrtle Beach is home to a spiritual center that attracts followers from all over the world? The truth is, it's been here for some 80 years. And those of you aware of its existence may not know exactly what it's all about.
Yeah.
A cult, a religion, what
Ram?
exactly goes on there? Our Eric Weisfeld steps
Ram,
foot
it's
on the
not
property
playing
at
properly.
102's
Hello?
renewal
Ram?
of spiritual life.
Dara or someone, can you help?
What is it you need?
You're still on the WhatsApp page, and the thing is not, the commentary is coming on, but the movie is not showing.
Really?
Yeah.
I can
So,
see it.
Uncle, what you need to do is you need to select the screen where you have the
Yeah,
page open in your Google or the.
I'll stop sharing. I'll try it again.
Sure, please.
Yeah.
So what you had selected was the WhatsApp, the window that was showing us.
Right, I didn't download the video.
No problem. I think you had played earlier in the browser. So you can go back to that screen and just start, share that screen.
Right, that's what I did. I'll try it again.
Yes.
Try it again.
There's a gentleman called Dhananjay Parkhe. He says, sorry, I joined late, my first meeting here. He's also had darshan of Avatar Meher Baba in 1958 onwards. I was with Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh Center, and happy to see my elder sister, Dr. Kunda Nafde, is also online here. Jai Baba to all. Sir, Dhananjay sir, we would like you to sometimes join us and share your experiences also. Go ahead, Ram.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I'm getting one screen or other.
Janice, can you do it?
We'll just see if Ram uncle can, because I'll try if I can show from my mobile. Just a moment.
Yeah, I mean,
you come in and help out.
Ram uncle, you can try in the meanwhile.
Okay, okay.
जय बाबा धनंजय
जय बाबा कुदरत भाई
हाँ जय बाबा सर जय बाबा नेक्स्ट टाइम कभी आप आके शेयर कीजिएगा
जरूर जरूर सर
सो नाइस टू सी न्यू फेसेस इसमें तो एकदम सूटेड बूटेड है और यहाँ पे एकदम टी शर्ट में है वेरी नाइस Okay, are we ready for the video?
I think so.
Okay, go ahead, sir. Now we are getting.
Yes, that's right. Now you can play them.
Yeah.
When someone is hurt, they often say they want a good lawyer. What does that mean? A good lawyer is truthful with his clients. A good lawyer.
I think some ads playing. It's okay. Do you see any skip ad option?
Isn't afraid to climb into the ring to fight for what's right.
New at 6, rest, meditation, and the renewal of spiritual life. Did you know Myrtle Beach is home to a spiritual center that attracts followers from all over the world? The truth is, it's been here for some 80 years, and those of you aware of its existence may not know exactly what it's all about. A cult? A religion? What exactly goes on there? Our Eric Weisfeld steps foot on the property at 10200 North Kings Highway in a story you will only see right here on WNBF News.
You may have driven past it. The sign tells you what it is, Meher Baba Spiritual Center. But what is it really? What goes on behind these gates? Can anyone enter, or is this spiritual center private? Questions so many of you have, and we set out in search of answers. As you come through these gates, be prepared for quite the discovery. 500 acres of oceanfront property, dotted with cabins, trails, 2 freshwater lakes, a barn, a communal kitchen, and an abundance of woods and trees. An overall peaceful surrounding. But to truly understand what this center is all about, you must first turn the clock back all the way to the 1940s, and a man named Meher Baba, a spiritual avatar as he's known. God descended in human form with a dream for harmony and goodwill for mankind.
Meher Baba talked about the journey of the soul, that every soul is on a journey back to God. And happily, every soul makes it, even though we have some pretty gnarly lifetimes, many lifetimes, as a human being. Everybody makes it. But it turns out that the union with God is divine love.
So how did a man with roots in India end up setting up camp here in Myrtle Beach?
Turns out it's a really happy story, but it's a hard story because living in the world, as you know, is suffering. It's difficult, but it's purposeful. And being here helps people get in touch with that inner place of love, and it helps to make sense of the world.
That's where Elizabeth Chapin Patterson, the daughter of Simeon B. Chapin, as in Burroughs and Chapin, comes in. Elizabeth was a devout Meher Baba follower and wanted to help him create his spiritual center dream in the West. So, as instructed by Meher Baba himself, she set out to find a property that met 5 criteria: an equitable climate, more than ample water, virgin soil, tillable land, and a property that was given from the heart. She asked her father for these 500 acres his company, Myrtle Beach Farms Company, owned. Simeon Chapin purchased it from the company, deeded it to his daughter Elizabeth, and she gave it to Meher Baba with love. It took 8 years to make it just right, and in 1952, the Spiritual Center was born. Elizabeth has since passed away, but was clearly proud of the legacy she leaves behind.
And the wonderful part is to renew that contact, you might say, with God. Let God, that still small voice, speak. And to meet other people that are also have come along another path that are, when heard of Meher Baba, want to come. And we're never for want of people coming. They seem to come from here and there and are drawn by his presence.
It may have taken nearly a decade to create, but once it was established, it was exactly what Meher Baba had envisioned, complete with his private home. And although he only visited here 3 times in the 1950s, his followers know the huge impact those trips made. Meher Baba said his Myrtle Beach home was his favorite because it was given from the heart. Today, the Spiritual Center has remained intact and staff operates it daily, making sure it stays true to its leaders' wishes. Meher Baba said in particular he wanted his home, the barn, and the lagoon cabin to stay just as they were when originally built. So, who's allowed to visit the center? Well, contrary to popular belief, these followers are very welcoming, with a few caveats.
There are different things that he didn't want to see happen on the center to keep the atmosphere, basically. One of them is no drugs and alcohol. Another is people wear closed-toed shoes because of snakes and flashlights at night because of snakes. But he also said no backbiting. And of all the centers, he founded 3 centers in the world, and this is the one where he said no backbiting. It's interesting that he did it in America. We're such a critical culture, but no backbiting because it's divisive. And no talking about politics here either.
Should you choose to come to this land considered sacred and holy, you should know that a tour guide like Preeti Hay is needed for that first visit. After that, you're free to enjoy what this vast property offers. Musical performances, talks, films of and about Meher Baba, and meetings to discuss his writings. For a nominal fee, you can even spend the night in one of the many cabins on site.
They're minimalistic, but they've got a touch of attention to detail.
But we wanted to dig deeper to find out what this spiritual center actually represents. The word cult has been used to describe what goes on here. Any truth to that?
He said that he did not come to establish any religious creeds or sects or cults, that his mission was to come to the West, was to unify religions. And he said that the West was more inclined to the material and the East was more inclined to the spiritual. And he would like to put all of those together like beads on one string.
Not a cult, not a religion. Followers will tell you it's all about putting the chaos of today's world aside in favor of peace, solitude, and the life Meher Baba wants us all to live.
Okay, folks. Thank you, Ram.
Thank you. And the party, do you know who all those people are? The one who spoke about the center, that is Bus Corner. I think this put on cheap Hines, but he's Jane Haynes and Charles son-in-law, Wendy Haynes' husband. And he's the director of the Myrtle Beach Center. He's in charge.
Okay.
And the Indian girl, that's Preeti Hayes, that is, Raj Kilnani?
Yes, and his brother.
That's Vinod's daughter.
His brother's daughter, right?
Kilnani's daughter, yes.
Somebody has asked if we can put the link on the chat. So please try and do that on the chat, please.
Sure, I will.
Okay. Now, very briefly, since we don't have much time, I'd like to talk about my own trip to this Myrtle Beach. This must be about 25 to 30 years ago. And what can I say? Baba, what I'm trying to emphasize upon is Baba gives you an opportunity in such an indirect way to have his work done. And sometimes he chooses an idiot like me. The story is that in those days, I used to fly with Air India and of course, go to the Bombay Center. And we had the then president by the name of Mr. Darab Shah Khattak. So suddenly out of the blues, the two of us were chatting and we decided to make a trip to Myrtle Beach. And of course, I could get the free tickets, and Darab Shah said if you could accompany me because he was rather old. And so we both set out. I won't go into those minor details, but before I was to go to Myrtle Beach, I was on a short flight to Delhi or something, and a Parsi guy from the traffic staff, the people who check you in kind of thing, I happened to tell him that I'm planning to go to America, this, that, and the other. So he said, Sam, can you do me a favor and take a parcel for me? I said, sure. Some mithai, you know, sweets. So he came and gave me the packet of sweets. And of course, the name and address and everything was written on it. So I just dumped it in my bag and didn't think much about it. We went to New York and from there to Charleston and from Charleston to Myrtle Beach and all that. And whilst I was unpacking, I suddenly came across this parcel and I said, oh my God, I'm supposed to have this parcel either delivered or posted or something or the other. So the next day or two later, I asked one of the hosts over there, and they said, oh, this place is very close to Myrtle Beach itself. In fact, it is a 10-15 minutes drive away from Myrtle Beach. Now, that time when I visited there, there was a kind of a cyclone or a hurricane, something that had happened at that time. And there was a tremendous devastation. There were trees fallen down and a lot of things were, you know, rotting away and all that. So one fine morning, we had this opportunity to meet Kitty Davis and Elizabeth Peterson, and I'll never forget that meeting. Darab Shah and myself, we both, it was somewhere on the first floor kind of thing. So we climbed up and it was kind of an office-like thing, and the two ladies were seated there. And Kitty Davis was so loving. I cannot tell you in words. We had taken a box of chocolates and she most graciously, if I may say, she was like someone from the ladies' women mandli that we know of in India. I really felt as though I was meeting someone from the women mandli. So she very graciously opened the chocolate box and she picks up one chocolate and gives it to Darab Shah, picks up another one and gives it to me. And it was something like receiving a prasad, you see. And then, of course, we were talking about various things about how the Bombay Center was doing this, that, and the other. And then she happened to mention something about all this, the havoc that was caused by this hurricane on the property. That same evening, I had, of course, phoned up this gentleman. He was a Parsi gentleman called Mr. Tata, who lived just a few minutes away, 10-15 minutes away from the Myrtle Beach Center, and he had invited us for dinner, Darabsa and myself. So here I am with this packet of mithai, and somebody dropped us over there, and it was a lovely house, to say the least. That gentleman was some big shot in, I think he was a lawyer or a big-time accountant or something like that. A typical American house. He had a wife and kids and a dog, of course, and the lovely garden around and all that. And his American wife took the trouble to cook dansak for the Bawajis of Bombay. So anyway, we had this lovely dinner, and after that, we just packed up everything and came back again. And the next day I went and I happened to meet Katie Davies again, and she said, Sam, do you know that this gentleman, Mr. Tata, is quite influential? He was a mayor, or I don't know the exact details, but something in the local municipal administration. And she said, can you please call him up and seek help to have these, because we've been trying to call in people to clear up all the devastation that has happened and, you know, just clean up the area in general. So I called him up and he agreed at once. And he said, yes, of course, we'll have it done. And that same afternoon, there were all these equipments rolling in. And they started cleaning up and this, that, and the other. And these two ladies, of course, Elizabeth Patterson gifted me a book written by her. I still have it, the copy lying somewhere. So this was my experience of going to Myrtle Beach. The reason why I narrated this is, sorry, that in a very indirect manner, Meher Baba, through this parcel of sweets, established a contact to this Mr. Tata, who was of great help to clean up the Myrtle Beach Center. And my dear friends, this is how he conducts things in this world. He does not perform miracles. He never claims to have performed any miracles, and yet unknowingly, unseen, unheard, he just quietly keeps on working within our hearts and has work done. Sometimes you get this good fortune of serving in his cause. And for me, that is the best opportunity I could ever get in my life. There have been many instances also whenever, even at the Bombay Center, it has now, and one more thing, at this Myrtle Beach Center, there was a gathering in the evening. And for the first time in my life, I was made to give a small talk. And I think it went off very well. And that's how this president of ours, Darabsa Katak, when we came back to Bombay, he would always pull me up and say, now Sam, get on the mic and say a few things. And I would say, no. And he said, nay, you did very well at Myrtle Beach, so why can't you do over here? And that is how yours truly started talking. I never used to talk in public kind of a thing, but this is how things happen. Anybody has any questions?
Sam, I don't have a question, but I forgot I had one incident.
Haji.
When Sridhar uncle and I, when we were in the US.
Uh-huh.
So this was, can I add now?
Yeah, go ahead. But yeah.
So this was on our way back, we attended the LS hours and we were to fly back home. So Sridhar uncle and I, we get into this hotel room. So we had to catch a very early morning flight. So we enter the room, we settle down, and believe it or not, suddenly, the whole building started swaying, it's like a pendulum, it was going from one side to the other side.
Wow.
Like my mind went blank and I was numb. Then I realized, because I spent a lot of years in California, Northern California. So I knew what it was. So, and Sridhar kept saying, kya ho raha hai, So, and I was like, really didn't know what to do. So then it's usually these earthquakes are, for a short duration, but this was, for a pretty large duration. It was about 20 to 30 seconds, but it felt like eternity. So what I realized during that time was how difficult it is to remember Baba's name. Even in that such adverse situation, somehow my mind went blank. So I was very upset with me later on, saying that in this situation, you cannot even think of Baba. I said, what good are you? So, then I realized it's not easy unless you practice.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Okay. End of my story.
Okay, folks, I need someone to perform the Aarti. Can anyone do us the honors unless you want to listen to this old man reciting Aarti? Can anybody volunteer, please? Hello? Okay, Janice, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Can you do the Aarti, please?
No. Okay, sure. अवतार मेहर बाबा कीजिए। बुझावे नार जहलतनी कर कुदरत ने फरमातो छिलागी आश भक्तों ने के बख्शे नूरे मातू आया मुर्शद मेहर बाबा चरण पर तुझ न धरिए सर खुदा ना जात थी वाके फतई दे तो मेहरबान तुझे माँ लेख हकीकत नो तो आशे भीने यारे थी तुझे दरियाए वहदत मारे पतनो कोई तूफान तू हमो रह रखने साले बख्शे ज्ञान सदनु के तू परमात्मा ज्ञानी छेनेमु तारे पातु खुदाना प्रेम मनो प्यालो पिलावी मस्त हमने कर छे तुझ पर जान सदके साखिया तेरे प्रेमा तू हमारी नाव भर दरिए तरावे तो हमें तरिए हमारा ना खुदा है मेहर बाबा छेनी के बांधो हमारा ना खुदा है मेहर बाबा छेनी के बांधो बुझावे नार जहलतनी कर कुदरत में परमातु छेलागी आश भक्तों ने के बख्शे नूरे ईमान अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय
Jai Baba, everybody.
So, Uncle, one thing, if you could hear the child voice along with me, that's my 4-year-old nephew who was singing along the aisle.
Oh my God, how nice. How nice.
What a beautiful treat. Thank you.
Thank you. And he's too shy to recite or sing along when we see him. So when I was just engrossed in singing, he quietly came beside me and started singing along.
What a fortunate soul to recite Baba's Aarti at the age of 4. What a fortunate soul.
Yes, I'm sure Baba's soul taken
Yes.
a birth again.
Yes.
Thank you, Baba.
Now,
Thank you, Uncle.
the program is almost coming to an end, and I would like anybody wants to make any comments before I close or make the closing remarks. Does anyone want to speak or say anything briefly? Perin Jasumani.
Beautiful. Lovely day. Thank you.
Oh,
It was a lovely evening. It was a really lovely evening, Sam Uncle.
thank you, Baba. Jimmy Khan.
Yeah,
Sir?
Sam, Merchant talked about DuPont tunes. This is the place where Baba had convalesced after meeting the accident in the US. He stayed for almost a month. This is outside of the Mayor Spiritual Center, but a distance away.
Yeah.
But you can enter this place from the pathway of the retreat, or you can go from there as well, and you can go from the main road as well. Just a thought.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Baba stayed there for maybe almost a month.
Okay. Now, in the closure or the parting thing, all I'd like to say is this 2 lines that we just heard from Aarti. हमारी नाव भर दरिए तरावे तो हमें तरिए. हमारी नाव means a boat. We are requesting the Lord that the boat of our life through this ocean of jhamelas in the world, please steer us through. Hamara na khuda ay meher baba. Na khuda is a captain or the person who steers the boat. Hamara na khuda ay meher baba che nigehba tu. Nigehba means the person who's keeping a watch on us. Folks, until we meet again, let us remember just one thing. that as long as you have him in your heart and you keep remembering him, he will not let us down. He will not let us down. He may take us into the middle of the ocean and let the waters come right up to our nose, but he will never, ever let us drown. Thank you, everybody. And keep Baba with you. That's all I have to say. Jai Meher Baba. And Baba, please take care of all the ailing members of your Bombay Center and help them to recover well, is all I request to you. Keep your nazar on us. Keep us all strong to serve you long. Avtar Meher Baba.
Avtar Meher Baba ki jai. Jai Meher Baba Sam.
Now, Merchant Nuri, now you come
Jai
in.
Meher Baba.
Jai Baba.
No, it's just Jai Meher Baba.
Jai Baba. Jai.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba, everyone. Uncle, should I end the
Everybody
meeting?
enjoyed this program. If you have any suggestions, please do let us know. Okay? Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Ram Uncle. Thank you, Baba, and you all. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. See you
Thank
all
you.
again next week.
It was my
Till
pleasure.
then,
Yeah.
thank you.
Just a minute, Janice.
Yes, Uncle.
You said a very beautiful thing, which I don't know if everybody heard it or not, but you said, thank you, Baba, in you all. I think that was the most captivating way to say that you are thanking Baba that resides in each and every one of our hearts. And I think that is the exact thing to end this program with. Thank you, James.
Thank you. Thank you, Baba. So I'll see you all next week again. Till then, stay safe. Take care. Baba Nigeba. Avtar Meher Baba ki jai. Avtar Meher Baba ki jai. Avtar Meher Baba ki jai.
Jai Meher Baba.